So let's start with a couple of headlines over here. Not this one, but this one. So we were talking about this, I think maybe like a month ago when he came out, and he was a little critical of how he was handled, his price tag and stuff like that. More than how he was handled, I think he was not happy with this price tag because it was going to kind of like scare off some teams. Now we're finding he has really impressed on his slot. I don't know how much to buy into this. Okay, I guess I'll ask you, Gordo. How much do you buy into that, or is this Liverpool playing the game where we're like, oh, we don't have to sell him. We really like him, and then to increase his price.
I think it's more of the latter, right? You like put him in the window and like, oh, well, why does Liverpool value him so highly? And it ups his value. It also kind of sparks something under him too, right? Because you've got an opportunity. Everybody right now has a clean slate. And or a clean slot, I should say, and everyone has a chance to. Everyone has a chance.
Hold on, I gotta go over here and do this.
But so like it's anybody has a chance to impress the new manager. So you say something like that to the media, and it might light a fire under a player that. Obviously we valued him at some point because we purchased him. We've kept him on the books for this long, so go out there and see what you can do in the friendly, see what you can do in the pre-summer camp, and maybe it comes to value. If not, like I said, you put him in the shop window and maybe increase his value in the transfer market.
Yeah, I guess in some ways there's not much to lose, right? So what did we say, like 20 or something? I think was the rumor that we said 20. So even if he sucks in preseason, we would probably go back to getting what we would probably originally get, 10, 12, John. But if he does really well, and we really had no intention of keeping him, we might actually be more realistic in getting that 20 maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm kind of looking at it more that maybe he has a realistic shot, because I don't know if you guys caught the news that Reece Williams, Nat Phillips, and Billy Kumieto is on the way out. So that's like three slots. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. It's going to be...
You notice I heditated because I was like, it just came from Gordon, and I was like, the wound is still fresh, and then I wanted to add more salt to it, but yeah, that's three center back bodies that we're gonna be losing that aren't necessarily gonna be used, but then in terms of him being a Dutch player, right? Him being able to speak the language with our gaffer, I don't know there might be a chance. I feel like if we see him string one or two good performances in the preseason, maybe he might, kind of force himself into that fifth choice, because we are obviously going to go for someone, at least I would think, to be that Matip replacement, right? So that's 4 people now in the first choice. I just don't know if he wants to be a fringe guy, like that fifth choice coming in the insurance policy, because obviously at this point in his career, he'd want to be starting teams. He'd want to be starting games for a club, every single week. So it's obviously a conundrum. It's just me looking at it from the glass half full perspective. But at the end of the day, I feel like he's probably going to be sold. It's just a shame because we never really kind of looked into him like thoroughly, didn't we? Like when we signed him in 2020, we were like, oh, okay, we got this kid coming in. Then we loaned him out again, loaned him out. Like he never really got a shot, right? Like considering what happened to Kwanzaa, like maybe we can roll him in for the first few cup games and then in the League Cup, depending on the opposition, then see in the January transfer window, maybe if his value is possibly increased, or is it just the same, then we can sell him off? I don't know. It's just, I feel like we haven't really gotten a proper look in for the kid.
See, I don't know. Like, I think I can't even remember. I mean, so you might be right because I can't even remember.
Exactly.
I remember when he first came over. I don't know why, but it was like, oh, he's huge. He's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. Like a young kid we signed, promising and all that. I remember watching stuff where he meets Klopp, and I was like, holy shit, this dude is bigger than Klopp, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
But, we did watch some games. I can't remember if it was preseason, Gordo, and if it was like a League Cup games or something like that. But he looked, when I was watching him then, he looked awfully slow for the system to play center back. Like it took forever for him to turn around. He was a little Nat Phillips like in that sense. And obviously he was a lot younger. He didn't have the physicality, at least you get from Nat Phillips either. Like, the the balls he can win in the air and stuff like that. You are not getting them either. I know he's had some good spells and he's played more like right back and stuff like that, which was when I first started he's playing right back. I'm like, how the hell did he look so slow? So maybe we have not seen him since he's more like grown into his body and matured as a player, or is he like just like would he be okay with an insurance policy kind of a positioning in the team?
Well, like John said, I mean, we've pretty much cleared house at the center back position, so it wouldn't be a huge
We
loss.
even miss those guys, though. I mean, really, I know everybody wanted Nat Phillips to put his head everywhere, but aside from that,
out of context, that sounds so wrong.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. God damn it, John. But don't take it out of context, dang it. Okay. But I mean, those guys, yeah, they're gone, but were they there? I mean, did we even say, well, worst case scenario, Nat Phillips will come in? Not really. We didn't even count on it.
Like, we don't see them, but they're in training. So you've got like this big group of center backs that are like,
hey guys,
hey, where you going?
Yeah, the little clique has gotten a lot smaller now. So I mean, like maybe there's in terms of like pecking order, because that's basically how it operates in that sense is. You've got several guys in front of you that you have to leapfrog in order to even get a look at, maybe even being third choice, fourth choice center back. Now you've cleared the way, and now there's not as many hurdles to jump over. We don't have to pay anything for him because we've already got him on the books. He's essentially a new signing because maybe he's played 60 minutes total in the time he's been here in a Liverpool shirt. I couldn't even tell you what kind of games he played, but I do know that he has made his debut for first team. I just don't know how many minutes he's actually played for us. And like John said, you get a young guy coming in and we haven't really given him a fair shot, in my opinion. And, we can move him on, but in that sense, it's bad business because we bought him. He had like, I was impressed by him too, because he was a large kid. There was a lot of good things said about him coming through the youth leagues, and I was excited to play him. And so for us to buy him, have this big, fanfare around him and not give him a fair shot and then move on. It just doesn't, that's bad business.
Yeah, for Liverpool, he played
4 times, I see.
Yeah, he played mostly U21s for 270 minutes in total.
Well, U21s, right? But
what he's played.
For the first team, he played once in the FA Cup, thrice in the League Cup when in the season we won the league. So that was it.
Okay, and I think those are the games that I'm referring to in terms of like remembering him. Sparky says new manager, new chance. I'm gonna get back to that. So let's talk about Phillips's head and where it fits and goes and stuff. Phillips has determination that all the players should have. I understand that, but that does not make a Liverpool player. I'll have all the determination in the world, but you don't want me in the starting 11. I mean, we get back. We've talked about this with Nunez and stuff in the past. So it's like, what do you work so hard? I mean, I work hard too.
In terms of
a certain level. Go ahead,
in terms of an insurance policy, though, Tim, like a player like Nat Phillips isn't exactly bad as a break glass in case of emergency player.
But why? If he doesn't fit the system, why?
True. Which is why I'm kind of making the case for Sepp here, because he's good on the ball, right? He's tall. We don't know about his speed yet because we haven't really seen him in terms of how he's played even during his loan spell. So maybe like what Sparky's saying, new manager, new chance. And these first few games in the preseason, I feel like are going to be big for him, honestly, in terms of because with Kwanzaa, granted, that's a different situation, right? He came in as an emergency. He was kind of a break glass in case of emergency option with Konate injured. Berg kind of got that red card against Newcastle. He was kind of thrown in there, literally into the fire, and he was solid. So maybe in a less stressful situation, maybe Vandenberg can kind of show up there and go like, "Hey, I'm decent too,"
See, with Kwanzaa, though, I almost got the feeling that, you see some stuff on the training pitch. I mean, he leaped over everybody else, all these guys that you guys counted as leaving. He leaped all over them just because, A, he fits the system, and B, obviously he has the quality, and he probably showed it on the training pitch. Like, hey, this guy's a very viable option. How much, John, you mentioned it, so let's go to you. Because I'll be honest with this, but maybe it might be different in my situation. The whole Dutch aspect. Do we put too much or way too much stock into this? Do they even care? Because I can tell you from personal experience, as a Turkish dude, when you meet Turkish people like out of the country and stuff, I am slightly offended by the fact that they assume we should just be like the best pals ever. Because aside from a common language and passport, we really don't have anything in common. If we were in Istanbul, I probably would not talk to you. So why would I hang out with you over here, kind of thing? You're still like really a dude to me until you're like a cool dude. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, like Turkish familiarity and stuff. But sometimes people take that to the extreme and they're like, we should be best pals. We have the same passport, kind of a thing. Do you think, it's not like we got so many German players over the last 8-9 years. The club is German. Is it like overrated that we're like, Van Dijk is Dutch? This guy is Dutch and stuff like that.
I feel like it's a case by case basis because with Rafa, you can clearly see the Spanish influence. We had Pepe Reina, Luis Garcia, Xabi Alonso, all those guys, literally handpicked by not Alonso, but some of them handpicked by Rafa himself, right, to come in and sort of influence our squad. With Klopp, I don't think it would have been too much of a deal. I don't know our new gaffer yet, so I can't really say too much. Like I've only known him 2 interviews, 1 press conference and 1 interview. So that's all. I don't really know the guy. As to your point, Tim, about like knowing people, I don't really know the guy yet. But in terms of a face value, in terms of Vandenberg's situation, obviously he didn't get a look in with Jurgen. So maybe the fact that he speaks the same language, maybe it might help his case, because with him, it's just the very finest margins that he needs in terms of probably being given a chance, right? Like, oh, maybe we speak the same language. Like maybe I can convince this guy, show him my qualities, and he can communicate to me better because we speak the same language on the training pitch of what I need to improve, what's good, what I need to work on and stuff like that. That's how I'm seeing it. But at the end of the day, I feel like it might be a little bit overrated, to ask your question. Like, we're only talking about the fact that Gakpo might start on his setup because Gakpo is in form. Right. And Gakpo, like even under Klopp, he was starting towards the end of the season and he's showing it off at the Netherlands. So I don't think it plays big of a part. But if I was Sepp Vandenberg personally, I would feel a little sense of encouragement because his like basis is rock bottom. He never got a look in with Klopp. Right.
Sergi says one.